Rabbit R1. In January 2024, in the middle of the global fever for artificial intelligence, Jessie Liu presented what promised to be the iPhone moment of the AI era. Rabbit R1, a small orange square that fit in the palm of your hand that would be the replacement for smartphones. The promise was bold. According to Jessie, the phone as we know it was dying. Instead of having to navigate through endless menus on your phone, the Rabbit R1, powered by a type of AI called a large action model, promised to navigate apps for you. For example, you could order food, call an Uber, plan a trip, or play music just by talking to the device. No touching a screen. The AI handled everything. The best part? It would only cost $199. Pre-orders exploded, and the first few days of the launch exceeded 100,000 sales. But the criticism didn't take long to arrive. The battery life was terrible, and the promised large action model failed at basic tasks. The famous YouTuber Marcus Brownlee published a devastating review titled "Barely Reviewable." By the end of 2024, out of the 100,000 initial buyers, only about 5,000 active users remained. New Coke. By the early 1980s, Coca-Cola's dominance in the soda market was under threat. Their main competitor, Pepsi, had been stealing more and more market share with a brilliant marketing campaign. In shopping malls all across the United States, they invited people to do blind taste tests. They would blindfold people and have them taste two drinks. One was Coke, the other was Pepsi. And the users always chose Pepsi. Totally desperate, the Coca-Cola executives reached only one conclusion. The problem was the product itself. The 100-year-old secret formula was seen as outdated. It wasn't sweet enough. On April 23, 1985, Coca-Cola announced New Coke and permanently discontinued the original formula. The public reacted in the worst way possible. The company received more than 1,500 calls a day. Organizations were created, like the Old Cola Drinkers of America. Protests broke out all over the country. The pressure became unmanageable, only 79 days after its launch. On July 11, 1985, Coca-Cola announced the return of the original formula under the name Coca-Cola Classic. Hey, if you're watching this and you want to have good luck this week, please subscribe. It would help us a lot. Google Glass. In 2013, Google was thinking of a revolutionary product, a device worthy of a sci-fi movie that would overlay digital information onto the physical world. The idea was smart glasses with a tiny transparent screen and a camera. You could record everything you saw, take photos, and receive notifications, all via voice commands. With a waiting list and a price tag of $1,500, it was meant to be an exclusive product. It was designed for wealthy tech enthusiasts, venture capitalists, and journalists. In an era of rising income inequality, Google Glass became a potent symbol of Silicon Valley elitism. The forward-facing camera generated an immediate and intense reaction from the public regarding privacy and surveillance. People in bars, restaurants, and movie theaters felt uncomfortable being potentially recorded by glass wearers without their consent. Businesses started banning the device, with no Google Glass signs appearing in windows. The term glass hole was even created to describe people who use the device in social settings. As if that wasn't enough, the utility of the device wasn't clear at all. Was it a camera, a notification center, a map? The battery life was poor, the device ran hot, and the display was difficult to see in bright sunlight. Its high price, the poor value proposition, and the social controversy caused Google Glass to be discontinued. Juicero. In 2016, Doug Evans, a vegan raw food advocate who compared himself to Steve Jobs, presented Juicero as the juicer of the future. With a price of $700, Juicero was a Wi-Fi-connected intelligent juicer with an industrial-strength press that exerted 4 tons of force to squeeze packs of chopped fruits and vegetables. The company sold you these packs, which came in many varieties and flavors. Initially, the company managed to raise $120 million in investments. Google and Kobe Bryant were some of their main investors. In March 2016, they launched Juicero to the public, and sales were problematic from day one. The price was just too high. The fruit packs cost $8 each. Less than a year later, the price of the juicer was no longer $700, but $300. CEO Doug Evans was replaced by a former Coca-Cola executive, but sales kept dropping until April 2017, when the final nail in the coffin arrived for Juicero. Journalists from Bloomberg discovered that the fruit packs didn't need 4 tons of force to be squeezed. You could just squeeze them with your hand to make the same juice, meaning that using the machine to make the juice was completely unnecessary. 5 months later, on September 1, 2017, Juicero announced its permanent shutdown. They had to refund all their users. Juicero is the perfect example of a useless product that solved a non-existent problem with a machine that wasn't needed. Amazon Fire Phone. In June 2014, Jeff Bezos got on stage in Seattle to present his most personal and obsessive project. After the success of the Kindle, Bezos wanted to conquer the most important device of all, the smartphone. Unlike what usually characterizes Amazon, his proposal wasn't to compete on price. The goal of the Amazon Fire Phone was to compete with Apple and Samsung. Its value proposition was a technology that looked like it was taken from a movie, dynamic perspective. The phone had 4 infrared cameras in the front corners that tracked your head movements in real time. This created a 3D holographic effect on the screen without the need for glasses, allowing you to look around icons and maps simply by tilting your head. With a starting price of $649, Amazon was looking to compete against the established iPhone 6, and Samsung Galaxy S5. But the market's response was a brutal silence. It is estimated that they sold fewer than 35,000 units in their first month, and the few users who did buy the smartphone were very critical. Dynamic perspective didn't add value, it caused motion sickness and drained the cell phone battery. To make things even worse, the phone didn't have access to any Google services. This meant no Google Maps, no Gmail, no YouTube, and worst of all, no Google Play Store. Users had to settle for the few applications existing in the Amazon App Store. Desperate, they lowered the price of the smartphone, but the public still wasn't interested. Amazon's warehouses were filled up with unsold inventory. Just 1 year later, they discontinued the Amazon Fire Phone and withdrew from the smartphone market. The $170 million worth of phones stuck in inventory were written off and trashed. Quibi. In 2018, DreamWorks co-founder and former Disney boss Jeffrey Katzenberg, together with the former CEO of HP and eBay, Meg Whitman, teamed up to launch a platform that was supposedly not only going to revolutionize the way we consume movies and TV shows, but was going to crush other streaming services like Netflix or Prime Video. How? Very simple. Instead of having to watch episodes longer than an hour or endless 3-hour movies, Quibi offered a different kind of cinema. Top-quality content, but split into chapters of 10 minutes or less. Focused exclusively on phones, Quibi featured another big innovation called Turnstile. This allowed you to watch content both horizontally and vertically. It was designed to fill the in-between moments of the day, waiting for the bus, the coffee line, or the subway ride to work. Investors trusted Quibi. They raised $1.75 billion. Stars like Jennifer Lopez, Kevin Hart, Steven Spielberg, and Guillermo del Toro were going to be part of the productions. But the platform had a launch date of April 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic. Suddenly, people weren't leaving their houses. There was no one waiting for the bus, no coffee lines, and no subway rides to work. The audience was trapped at home, with access to big TVs and established streaming services like Netflix and Prime Video. Nobody was interested in Quibi. Beyond the pandemic, the executives' big mistake was identifying Netflix or Prime Video as competition, when in reality, it was TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Content that people consumed to fill those in-between moments of the day. And while those three offered infinite, dopamine-filled, and free entertainment, Quibi charged you $8 a month to see its limited content catalog. Just 6 months after its launch, in October 2020, Quibi announced its shutdown. Out of the $1.75 billion raised, they only returned $350 million. And its content catalog was sold to Roku for just $100 million. Apple Newton. In 1993, the CEO of Apple at the time, John Sculley, had what he thought was a brilliant idea. A device that was going to be the Macintosh killer, Apple's star product back then. It was meant to be a futuristic device that would liberate computing from the desktop and change the way people worked. It wouldn't have any keyboard at all. Instead, it relied 100% on a stylus pencil that recognized your handwriting. Apple classified it as a personal digital assistant. The idea was to organize your schedule, make personal notes, use a calculator, and send faxes, among other features. A smart pocket device where you could write on the screen just like paper, and the software would recognize exactly what you wrote. Apple was sure about it. The idea was unique, brilliant, and innovative. On August 2, 1993, Apple launched the Newton to the public with an incredible price of $700. That's about $1,500 today. They expected millions in sales in the first few weeks, but the market wasn't interested. They sold only 50,000 units in the first month. To make matters worse, the few customers they did have started complaining immediately. The handwriting recognition software was not working well. Sometimes it didn't recognize what you wrote, and if it did, it would invent random words. The Apple Newton stopped looking like a device of the future and became a symbol of failure. It even got made fun of in an episode of The Simpsons. The high price, plus the low interest from the market, and the defective handwriting recognition software, made the Apple Newton the biggest failure in Apple's history.